Jai Jai Ram Om Sri Ram Jai Ram 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 Jai Ram Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. We are on the 18th chapter, Kashi. First we will read and then come back. The city of Kashi is a city of magnificent temples, domes and turrets, of which, when viewed from a height, lend a charm to the scene on the banks of the holy river Ganges. The whole of India rightly recognizes that Kashi is one of the most important shrines in Hindustan. Every day pilgrims by thousands are pouring into the place from all parts of India. As Ram took Ramdas on this pilgrimage in winter, the cold was very great here, and the Sadhu Ram and he had not sufficient clothing, and sleeping as they were in an open place on the banks of the river, the cold was felt very acutely, especially by the Sadhu Ram. The Sadhu Ram was getting impatient every day. His main object of travelling in the north seemed to have been fulfilled after visiting Kashi. Now he wanted to return to South India. Ram's will, nothing happens in this world but subject to his divine will. Ram's ways are inscrutable. Next day the train carried the Sadhu Ram and Ramdas to Ayodhya, the place where Sri Ramchandra lived and reigned. It was night when the pilgrims reached the place. They rested for the night in the open passenger shed outside the station. The cold was intense. The Sadhu Ram suggested that both should lie down back to back, the backs touching each other. This device was adopted in order to exchange one another's heat of the body for mutual warmth. Really an original idea. Thus passed the night. Early next day, both proceeded to the city and then to the Sarayu river. Washing the hands and feet, the Sadhu Ram suggested that no bath need be taken as the cold was very great. So returning from the holy river, they visited various mandirs of Sri Ramchandra and Hanumanji, secured food at a kshetra, and that very night caught a train going down towards Mumbai. Now the Sadhu Ram had once for all decided to close the northern Indian pilgrimage and hence the journey towards Bombay. O Ram, thy will is supreme. Although Ramdas has yet to visit more shrines of North India, it is beyond thy humble slave to know the reason for thy taking him to Bombay. Even every move thou givest to the situation of thy Das is considered by him to be for the best. The train travelled taking the Sadhu south and south. Station after station was passed. At a small station where the Sadhu Ram was dozing, some passenger who had not perhaps any pot with him took away while alighting the brass pot of Sadhu Ram, who woke up and discovered his loss after the train had left the station. He began to fret over the loss a great deal. In fact, he wept bitterly over it like a child. The next station was Jhansi, which was duly reached, here the ticket inspection was very strict. So the ticket clerk pulled down these sadhus as well as many others from their carriages and led them all near the gate leading out to the station. There were all in about 10 sadhus. The ticket clerk made all of them stand in a line on one side of the entrance or exit or both. The passengers were now going out to the station. The clerk was collecting tickets at the gate, his back turned against the sadhus, who were made to stand only at arm's length from the clerk. The first in the line of the sadhus was a young sannyasi with a jata or tuft of matted hair. Whenever the ticket clerk had a momentary respite from the collection of tickets, he would turn round, clutching the jata of the young sadhu, who was nearest to him, shake his head violently. The next moment he had to attend to ticket collection. When the stream of passengers thinned and there was some break, he would again handle the head of the sadhu and give it a shake or inflict blows upon it with his fist. While this was going on, by a look at the face of the sadhu who was next to him in the line, Ramdas made out that there was a happy smile on the face of the young sadhu. Next chapter also we will read, then only the story becomes complete. The sadhu seemed to enjoy the treatment. He was calm and contented. Ramdas, wishing also to taste the pleasure, requested the sadhu to exchange praises with him and thus offer him also the unique opportunity of receiving the attention of the ticket clerk. But the sadhu would not be persuaded to abandon his enviable position. Off and on, the clerk was meting out his treatment to the willing sadhu. This continued for nearly half an hour. The ticket collection work at last stopped. Now the clerk was totally free from work, and he turned right towards the sadhu. He approached the other sadhus, of whom Ramdas was the second, with the object of handling them roughly one by one. Ramdas felt much relieved to see that his turn had at last come. The clerk, coming up, caught his hand in a firm grasp, looked on his face in which he discovered a most welcome smile. Bright, beaming. At once he let go his hand, drawing himself back a few steps, seemed to have given himself some thinking. It was Ram who was at work, for next instant he asked all the sadhus to go out to the station. Accordingly, all the sadhus left the station one by one. O Ram, when thy invincible arm protects thy slave, where was fear for him? One thing was proved incontestably and beyond any doubt, that was, thou disarmest the evil intentions of an adversary when he approaches you in a violent mood by meeting him with a smile instead of with fear or hatred. Love can surely conquer hate. Love is a sovereign antidote for all the ills of the world. After all, the whole occurrence might be only Ram testing the sadhus to see if they would lose their self-control under provocation. All that Ram does is for the best. Now the time was about 2 o'clock past midnight. It was pitch dark, so the sadhus sought for a place on the station for taking rest for the night, but conditions for this were far from favorable. The station was full to overflowing, as it were, with passengers. Every available nook and corner of that portion of the station, intended for passengers, was occupied, and they were all scattered on the floor, sleeping in fantastic postures. All space filled up. However, Ramdas and his guide, the Sadhu Ram, slept near a pillar, where there was found room for both to sit on their legs. The cold here was also very severe. The sadhus sat up close to and pressing each other, so much so that they seemed almost molded into one piece. Rambhajan was going on. Ramdas became unconscious and dozed away where he sat, and did not wake up until he was roused by a strong and shrill voice, asking all passengers to take to their feet and walk out of the station. This was the order by the railway police. Ramdas opened his eyes and instantly became conscious of his body, which was discovered to be in a peculiar condition. Legs had turned so stiff with cold that they had stuck fast at the bend of knee joint, and on a look at them, he further made out that from the knee downwards both the legs had swollen, and also the feet, as though they were stricken with elephantiasis. However, by rubbing them briskly by both hands for about 5 minutes, he could unlock the stiffened joints Slowly rising up, he hobbled along for some distance. As he walked on, the stiffness disappeared. About 8 a.m., they reached the city of Jhansi, about 4 miles from the station. We are trying now, with the help of Prabhupada's journey, Ram is trying to make us understand that the different tests meted out here, spiritual aspect, in its journey towards the ultimate. Here we find, every now and then, Papa reiterates, Ram's will, Ram's will, Ram's will. Nothing happens in this world. Every time we know that, but why he keeps on repeating? So we feel, however much we are all intellectually convinced, when there is a repetitive test, there is likely to be a dilution to the ideal we hold on. So every time we need the ideal to be reminded. Like any other thing, suppose we are walking suppose we are climbing up the hill, for example, or walking in a paddy field, or packing on a raised wall where the space is very less. We will be very careful, Every time we are reminded from inside that if we are not alert, we are likely to fall. So this is some spiritual journey, is something like walking on the razor's edge. So every time when the mind is subjected to go through such adverse circumstances, it has to be reminded. Don't worry, it is Ram's will. Ram wills always for the best. Ram's ways are inscrutable. And one more thing in this we find. In Kashi, he doesn't make a mention about the famous Vishwanath temple. So Kashi, when somebody said, okay, if the sadhu had taken the Vishwanath temple, he would have gone. Here also we find Sarvarambha Parityagi in 12th chapter, while listing the qualities of a bhakta who is dear to God, he says this: Anapeksha, Shuchirtaksha, Udasino, Gatavyata, Sarvarambha Parityagi, Yomattva Sameti. Nothing is initiated by him for his benefit. Nothing is initiated by him for his benefit. So here now we find when he says he is relying on Sadhu Ram, he has given the word Ram, Sadhu Ram. Ram coming in the form of Sadhu. There is an implicit reliance on him. We were wondering, Kashi, normally we all go to Kashi. The most important thing is to have a dip in the holy Ganges. And nowadays we don't know. Previously, we ourselves can take water, then go to the Vishwanath Mandir, and we do Abhishek. That's a famous temple. And then take a round there. And of course, we also go to various Hanumanji's Mandir. So many are there. More than 100 temples are there in India. But the most important thing is start with Vishwanath Mandir. Vishweshwara Darshanakar Chalo Mani Kurmu Kashi. There is a Guru song said by Sarideva. So normally Kashi is closely associated with Vishwanath. But here, no mention. Then we started thinking, why no mention? Not that Papa has got disrespect for anything, because it was not suggested to Sadhu Ram, so he did not. And then the communion. This is something more important. Every now and then as a devotee, this communion that should go on. This is the message he gives us. Not only that, you keep on reminding through Ram's will or Ram Nam or anything. Ram Nam is the link between us and God, Papa used to say. But still, along with that, we should also hold communion with him. Why? Then, the connection becomes more and more firm. Here we find, so far also we have found, many a times he keeps on communing with him. O Ram, thy will is supreme. Although Ramdas has yet to visit more shrines of North India, it is beyond thy humble slave to know the reason for thy taking him to Bombay. Every move thou givest to the situation of thy heart is considered by him to be for the best. Like that, it can be on any point. What is more important is the connection is being felt. The presence is being felt. From the nearness to this next stage presence. So this chapter gives us that. Hold communion with him. Keep on reminding. Because the most adverse circumstances he explains, extreme winter. And no warm clothing, not even ordinary clothing. And then, by explaining about the other Sadhu Ram weeping over the brass pot, we are reminded of Vinobaji's. And then it directly hits us, because we may be thinking that we have got some control over all other possessions. We are not attached to anything. We say that while the things are in our possession. But actually when we lose it, do we internally feel that there is no loss? Externally probably we may not show. But here he was an innocent sadhu. So like a child he wept. Two things are there. One is his innocence. After some time we may also reconcile. Innocence. Second thing is, even a small brass pot, though the sadhu has been able to free himself from all major attachments and took to an itinerant life, we found how meticulously he was showering his love and concern on Papa. Everything is all right, was fine for him. But still, a brass pot. Because you remember in Tirupapuriyur when the station master took away the brass pot, his face became pale, and when it was returned, he was very happy. So even through it can be, nobody used to say whether it is 10 by 15 or 2 by 3, both are same. 10 by 15 means lot of professions, okay? 2 by 3 means, very little. But even then, in mathematics, the same result, There are 2 5s in 10, 3 5s in 15. So ultimately everything is same. So whether it is a possession is focused on one or many, whether the possessiveness is there, that is being gently pointed out to us through this narrative. And the next most interesting one is, the test is something severe. So far we have never come across any violence from somebody on him. Here he was able to witness a violent act by the TT. All the preceding chapters, you were asked to get down, that's all. There was no violence meted out. But here the violence was there, physical. And he is telling how that sadhu, who was the first one to receive this, how he took it stoically, poised. So all adversities we should, God is testing, God is testing, God is testing. Not a word about the TT's violent behavior. And the next chapter says, love conquers hate. To bring that, he is bringing this. Then we understand it is not violence. God is enacting, Ram is enacting a drama to bring out this wonderful principle. And what is the methodology? Which he discovered, the most welcome sign. As soon as Papa's turn came, a most welcome sign, smile, bright and beaming. Immediately the transformation takes place. We cannot explain. And here the communion with God again, Ram, that gives us this point. O Ram, when the invincible arm protects thy slave, where was fear for him? So he was able to see the invincible arm. Right from the moment he saw the inspector, in our language, violently reacting. So he was fearless. One thing was proved incontestably and beyond any doubt, and that was, thou disarmest the evil intentions of an adversary when he approaches you in a violent mood by meeting him with a smile instead of with fear or hatred. This is something on which you have to do a lot of wondering. By hearing it, we may not be able to implement. But there may be some instance in our life where we would have also been blessed with one devotee was here. She is now in Bangalore. She was telling her one experience. We can't call it as violent, but it's something extraordinary. They were in Caricut. One day while she was going for some shopping or something like that, one person, a fully grown up man, who was mentally retarded or disabled, he was walking without anything on his body, a blank look, and he looked as if he had not taken bath for many, many weeks. Everybody, was looking at him as a strange object. But this lady immediately went to the clothes shop, bought a dhoti, went there, tied the dhoti, tucked it, and like a child, he was standing. She could do that. Everybody was afraid to go near him. When we say love conquers hate, see, there is not hate here, but fear, no? There is no fear here. And when she came and told, she said, if somebody asked, how dare you? Suppose it is your brother, what will you do? It's easy to say all these things, but it's very, very rare to see that this is God blessed with such people, intuitively. There is no planning there, All that the intellect has there was to go to the dhoti shop, buy a one, and then and she said that Sujata or Thomas, because she used to organize so many things for the what do you call it, palliative care concern for the critically ill patients in India. So many things she does. So many things. But this is something unique. She was at that time she must be 30, 40 or something like that. What that's all. Or less than that. And after 2 or 3 days she came here. And like a child she was explaining everything. Still that is in front of us. The childlike expression. So see, there we were, Papa was showing us, where the love is, all the things will not be. Fear is not there. Fear is not there. What will people think, whether he will just grab me, what will I do? All those questions don't enter at all. Intellect is not working. If intellect is working, all these problems will come. Intuitively, God is working through us. And here, one more word Papa adds. Love can surely conquer hate. Love is a sovereign antidote for all the ills of the world. After all, the whole occurrence might be only Ram testing the sadhus to see if they could lose their self-control under provocation. All that Ram does is for the best. And the rest of the portion is vividly expressed by Papa because, the deplorable condition in which all the yatris were undertaking this yatra. Extreme cold, nothing to cover their body, and sitting there for hours together, and it becomes swollen. And here also Papa mentions that Ram Bhajan was going on. Ramdas became unconscious and dozed away very sad and did not wake up until he was roused. So the communion, every now and then the ideal is reminded. Ideal is the submission to his will, surrender. Ram's will. And periodical, and to sustain all these things is constant remembrance through Ram Bhajan, meditation. And he is also portraying the most tough, trying conditions at the physical level. Ram makes them to pass through. Because of all these things, he did not abandon the program now. Just imagine. And then they moved to Jhansi. Making inquiries, they straightaway went to a Dharamshala, resting for some time at the suggestion of the Sadhu Ram, directed their steps to the bazaar, and obtaining some flour, etc. from a charitable merchant, the Sadhu Ram prepared a few rotis and dal curry. After finishing dinner, they remained in Dharamshala till evening. Then the Sadhu Ram proposed a move towards the station, which was reached before dark. The same ticket clerk, whom Ram had brought in touch with the previous night, was found at the gate. Ramdas went to him and requested him to allow them to proceed to Bombay by the night train. Although at first he consented to do so, when the train arrived at 2 a.m., he refused them admission to the platform. It was all Ram's wish. So they had to spend another night in the station, which meant cold, stiffening, swelling of the limb for a second time. Next morning they retraced their steps again to the city. The state of the Sadhu Ram's mind at this time was most miserable. Coming to the same Dharamshala, they met two Telugu Sadhus. The Sadhu Ram, after a short talk with the Sadhus, at once made up his mind to give up the company of Ramdas and join them. It was all again Ram's making. His ways are inscrutable. Total submission to him means no anxiety, no fear, no pain, no all assurance. About half an hour later, Ramdas was left alone in the company of Ram, whose name he was uttering without cessation. The new sadhus and the sadhu Ram, who was so long his guide and foster mother, as it were, departed from the Dharmshala. Ramdas was meditating on Ram, unconcerned at the severance of the sadhu Ram's company. For complete resignation to the will of Ram had deprived him of all sense of anxiety and cares for the future. Thus, time was passing in Rambhajan, when two friends coming up to him dropped into his hands 2 banana pieces, suggesting that he might purchase some eatables from the bazaar and break his fast. Accordingly, he directed his steps to the bazaar. Here, while purchasing some eatables from a sweetmeat shop, he felt at his elbow somebody pulling him. He had now received the eatables. Turning round, he heard the friend address him, "Maharaj, a Seth desires you to go over to him." Ramdas instantly followed the friend, who led him into a shop, wherein were piled up wheat bags. As he entered the place, the friend came up from inside the shop and fell prostrate at the feet of Ramdas, the mendicant. Rising up with folded hands, the friend requested him to accept Bhiksha at his house that day. This friend was the merchant who had sent for him. He was then asked to sit on the thick white mattress called Gadi, with cushions to lean against, but Ramdas was a humble slave of Ram, so he preferred to sit on the floor. Here again he was offered a gunny bag on which he sat. After dinner, the kind-hearted merchant sat beside him, put him some questions with regard to his movements, which were all duly answered in terms of Ram's will, which was alone his sole guide. He further told the Shaykh of Ram's kindness and love for his bhaktas, and how he who trusts Ram knows no sorrow and can be happy under all circumstances. To have Ram's name on the lips means joy, pure joy, nothing but joy. The merchant was visibly affected to hear these words, for he himself was a great Ram Bhakta. Sitaram, Sitaram was always on his tongue. After a few minutes' talk, the Seth entreated Ramdas to remain with him for some days. He said that Ramdas's body, which was then in a most neglected condition, required to be taken care of, and that Ram had specially sent Ramdas to him with the sole object. It must be related here that the clothes in which he was clad were all rags. Mahadev Prasad, such was the name of the merchant, in whose care he was placed by Ram, provided him with new clothes dyed in Gelua, and every care was taken of him by this kind host. Mahadev became extremely fond of him. At nights, in spite of remonstrances, Mahadev Prasad would sit beside the sleeping Ramdas and press his feet. Oh, the kindness he showered on poor and humble Ramdas was unbounded. O Ram, it was thee who was doing it all through this friend. O Ram, how good, how loving thou art. Weep on, Ramdas. In silence weep on. Weep not in sorrow, but in joy, because Ram's gaze is upon you. For a month he was detained. For a month he was detained by Mahadev with him. Throughout the day and night he would not give up the company of Ramdas. At his request, Ramdas was explaining to him the meaning of some shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita with the help of a small understanding with which he was gifted by Ram. And Mahadev in return would read out and explain that monumental work of Tulsidas, the Hindi Ramayana. All people in his house were also very hospitable and kind to Ramdas. To prevent any cold affecting the heart of a frail-bodied Ramdas, Mahadev got a tight woolen jacket made for him. O Ram, how kind of thee, when thou art out to show thy fondness and love for thy slave. Thou shamest the very human mother who gave birth to Ramdas's body. Such is thy unlimited love. During Ramdas's stay at Jhansi, Mahadev Prasad took him on a visit to 2 Mohammedan saints. The first was an aged saint named Mirzaji. He might have been over 60 years of age, lean, bent. He would not speak, but there was a cheerful twinkle in his eyes. In short, he was merely a baby, simple, innocent, free. Mahadev Prasad had brought some eatables with him, which he thrust it into the saint's mouth, bit by bit. There was not a single tooth in the saint's mouth. Eatables were soft sweets. He chewed and swallowed them unconcernedly. He seemed to recognize nobody. His eyes had an absent and vacant look, though bright. He was visited twice. On the second occasion, he was found sitting on the ground outside his cottage, quietly tearing to bits stray pieces of paper scattered around him. So many in Jhansi. So here we find Ram was testing him. Till such time the Sadhu Ram was taking care of him. Not only taking care, leading him, guiding him. What should be the next step? Because he was totally relying on Ram. And Ram suddenly chooses to move away from him. Ram wanted to test whether there is any slightest anxiety in Baba. Whether he is cheerfully accepting the situation. He passed the test. And when he passed the test, naturally, suppose we get good marks. Immediately everybody is happy, and on that day, we remember when we came out successful in SSLC examination, mother immediately prepared payasam for everybody, and we were asked to go and distribute. Now Ram is doing the same thing. He made Papa not to get an entry into the railway station again. Initially the TTE allowed. Later on when the train came, no. And the time was at 2 a.m. No, that was previous, 2 a.m. After that only, this particular incident must have made the Sadhu Ram to take the decision to go in a different direction. Correct. This was when the Sadhu Ram was with him. So he accepted the situation, and then when he passed the test, first he brought somebody to give him some paise, for food. Voluntarily. Because under some pretext, Ram has to take him out. And when he was buying this, suddenly somebody calls him. And he was taken. And here, immediately, Papa submits. So when we are again looking back, when the legs are swollen, when he is in rags, when he has been undergoing such extreme trying moments, as a mother, he says, immediately Ram comes to the rescue and makes him to stay with somebody for a month. An unknown person who has not seen at all. So gently, the message is given. When you pass the test, that means your reliance on God is becoming 100%, not 99.99999. It is 100. When it is ensured, then the first stanza, with which they started, the 22nd sloka of 9th chapter. What is that? Ananya Chintayanto Mam, Ye Janaha Paripasate, Desham Nityabhikkanam Yogakshyam The meaning, there are two interpretations are there to make it. Papa says, to those who always remain absorbed in my meditation, to those ever harmonious, I bring full peace and security. Another interpretation, same thing. For those men who worship me alone, thinking of no other, for those ever united with him, I secure what is not already possessed. That's what we remember. And preserve what they already possess. Outward, so many things are not there. Now that is being given. And whatever he is having is reliance on God. That is prescribed. One more, another interpretation of the same slogan. There are those who always think of me and engage in exclusive devotion to me. To them whose minds are always absorbed in me, I provide what they lack, preserve what they already possess. I provide what they lack. He wanted rest. He wanted a break. No? Not that he wanted, but the body wanted. So there are, when we went through this, you would like to know more and more about it. So there are 3 or 4 we just checked out. These 3 were very, very clear. It suits. Every time when we apply this sloga to Papa's test, the test meted out by Ram on Papa, this sloga comes up and says, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? So here, they said, he was all kind. So they wanted Papa to stay with him, to recoup, and how he was taken care of. And here also we find the communion. O Ram, it was thee. This is very, very important. No? In Vyavahar, when somebody is loving us, we immediately come down to the individual level. No? Not the situation we appreciate, the person we appreciate. Just go back to our own life. We immediately come down to the individual level. Why we are always in the individual level. So we see them at the individual level. We don't see the finger of God. In adverse circumstances, as well as in the opposites. Papa was able to maintain the same poised attitude. So he says, O Ram, it was thee who was doing it all through this friend. O Ram, how good, how loving thou art. O Ram, how kind of thee, when thou art out to show thy fondness and love for thy slave. Thou shamest the very human mother who gave birth to Ramdas' body. Such is thy unlimited love. So the communion, that is the message. Ram through Papa gives us, have this constant communion, always attributing everything not to the individual, but to the power behind. As a sadhaka, as a devotee, this should not be lost sight of. Difficult for us, but probably hammering slowly. When we explain later to somebody, we used to say, Papa came in that form. But at that actual moment, do we? That is impossible. At least we have some background, so we will say, yes. Suddenly, Papa came in that form and helped me. And one more thing we wanted to share. We were wondering why Papa never used to elaborate explanation about deities. Though he had Lord Krishna as the chosen deity in the initial stages, he had written something about Lord Krishna. Lord Ramchandra, that's also he has written. He says, equality is the keynote in the lives of all great avatars and saints of the world. Their mission in the world is to help the weak to relieve the suffering and elevate and bless with their grace the humble devotees who take refuge in them. The glorious life history of Sri Ramchandra, God himself, revealed in all his brilliance and power, teaches us the one great lesson, namely, that we have to merge our individuality into his divine personality, so that we can attain to a vision filled with love and compassion towards all creatures on this earth. As we see in the various acts of Sri Ramchandra, his divine love went out to all alike, be the individual, a jungle woman, an outcast, a Shudra, a sinner, or one of the stock of demons, Shabari, Vidura, Guha, Ahalya, Vibhishana, all came under the light of his grace. Even the lower animals, the monkeys and birds, were not afraid. How can we best please this great master? Surely it is by loving and serving those whom he loved. Service done in his name and for his sake is the main factor in the life of a true devotee. The Supreme Lord is verily seated in the hearts of us all. In fact, he is the driver, we are the chariots. He is the driver, we are the chariots. We feel we are his instruments when we have dedicated ourselves completely to his service. A master, more loving and more powerful, we can never have. His name is filled with wonderful powers. To possess his name is to possess him. To think of him is to become one with him. To take his name to realize our fellowship with him. O Lord of Lords, every glory be thine, for and for thy name forever and ever. You find in this, it is not the personal aspect of Lord Ram. So when in Kashi, he makes a mention about visits to temple dedicated to Ramchandra, Lord Ram. That is why we remember this. He says, so returning from the holy river, they visited various mandirs of Sri Ramchandra. Then again, why did you make only Ramchandra's name? How do you view, how does Papa look at Ramchandra? This is how he prompted. Then immediately he has written an article about that. Not as an avatar, but as an avatar. Avatar representing a universal truth. Normally we get stuck with the Puranic story. We start with Dasharatha Maharaja. There is Ramayana there. Many points are there in Ramayana, as we understand. But here Papa brings Lord Ramchandra in not altogether different way. He says here clearly, how can we best please this great master? Surely it is by loving and serving those whom he loved. He loved whom? Here he says, his divine love went out to all alike. Be the individual a jungle woman, an outcast, his divine love, Shudra, or a sinner, or one of the stock of demons, Shabari, Vidura, Guha, Ahalya, Vibhishana, all came under the light of his grace. Even the lower animals, the monkeys and birds, were not accepted. How can we best please this great master? Surely it is by loving and serving. Service done in his name and for his sake is the main factor in the life of a true devotee. The Supreme Lord is verily seated in the hearts of us all. In fact, He is the driver and we are the chariots. So when He said Ram, 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 through this article, He says here, Ram is the driver. The power behind the individual called Ram. The four of them. That is why He said, Papa Mataji is everywhere, God is everywhere, you are everywhere. The power behind. So, that's why, every word of Papa. As we kept on reading this Kashi, why is there no mention about Vishwanath Mandir? So suddenly he makes a mention about Sri Ramachandra, various mandirs of Sri Ramachandra and Hanumanji. Then we started thinking, Hanumanji is also there, they have written. That also comes. Why he chose? We don't know. No? Now we understand why he chose. So we have to approach the request of God with that attitude. That is what He is teaching. Through these experiences, through these promptings, He is teaching us this. Glory of Hanuman. Sri Hanumanji is the greatest devotee of Sri Rama. He worshipped Lord Rama with the attitude of a servant, and by the servant master attitude he attained such a lofty plane in the spiritual sphere that when he was once asked by Lord Rama as to who he was, it's a very important dialogue. He could boldly reply, as body, I am your humble servant, O Lord. As an individual, I am a part of you. And as a supreme soul, I am yourself. As body, I am your humble servant. As an individual, I am a part of you. And as a supreme soul, I am yourself. Let us remember that if we can become His real servant, God's servant, He will absorb us in His own resplendent being and raise us to His status. To become His servant is to do everything as commanded by Him and to chant His name constantly. These were the only two sadhanas that Sri Hanumanji did. And with these, he could use to rise to the spiritual height and become the greatest servant of the Lord. Now he is being worshipped by one and all in innumerable temples and homes. He has shown to the world how one can become a real servant of God. We must all keep Sri Hanumanji as our ideal and strive to become servants of God. Let us humble ourselves to nothing and do everything as His service. Let us humble ourselves to nothing and do everything as His service and keep His name always on our tongue. By repeating Ram Nam constantly, we become the Das, the servant of Ram. So these are the two avatars on which Papa makes a mention in this Kashi chapter. So thereafter we will find that it is not the usual approach of a devotee. That expansion from the individual level to a wider dimension. It's also a big message for us. So these are all the things. The next chapter is very, very important, which we will take it up day after tomorrow. Meditation, the only way. So far, you also make a mention about the two Swamis, about whom we will also hear in the next chapter. Two Swamis. One is in Unmatta state, in total disregard to the outside happening. When Mahadeva Prasad went there and he himself fed him, we were remembering there was a great saint very near to Ashram, near Patputtur in Karnataka, Ajja. We call him Ajja. So Ajja came here. Then he had suffering, no doubt, but afterwards, he was taken to the Bhagavad there. When we went inside to have his darshan and small time, suddenly the time of the person, one mother who was accompanying, one family was accompanying, and the mother immediately brought a plate and she was disturbedly feeding him. And he was careless. Like children, we will again put like this and then put. When I asked, he has to be fed like this. Then they are in a different plane. God gives us wonderful opportunities also to meet them. And then when we went to his ashram later, there we found, he was behaving like everybody. Like, he was sitting, he was ensuring that we get seated, and he also fast. We are not taking along with us. So much of concern for everything meticulously, all those things were there. But this we saw it here. So the Unmatta state, about which Papa will describe later. There the mind indirectly is totally blank. Inessential. They have become the children of the God. In letter and spirit they have. So that's also, he might have, 60 years of age, lean and bent. He would not speak, but there's a cheerful twinkle in his eyes. In short, you are a mere baby, simple, innocent, and free. Mahadeva Prasad had brought some eatables with him, which he thrust it into the saint's mouth bit by bit. There was not a single tooth in the saint's mouth. Eatables were brought. He too swallowed them, unconcerned. That is the word. He seemed to recognize nobody. His eyes had an absent and vacant look, so bright. He was visited class. So this is how this chapter goes, and then this is 21. We will take it a day after tomorrow. And God puts you in system when you pass the test in meeting with Muslim saints. God puts you in system when you pass it. The saint was eating without taste, looking without seeing, hear without listening. So many things are touching me. I have my query in my mind that everyone searches something. What is it something? Can you please give the advice? Everyone searches something. Just we go back, even to find an answer for the search we are having, we have to go back to ourselves. Everyone would like to have good health, basic comforts, financial stability, harmonious setup, some security at all levels. But apart from that, he also wants peace of mind. Just think. All these things are there, but if the peace of mind is not there, money may be there in the bank, or some deposits may be there. some job will be there, some position is there. Good health is not there, okay, at least you are managing with some medicines, or facilities are there. You have a harmonious setup at home, at the field of profession. All these things are there, but the moment you go back to your bed, are you in a position to sleep well? So we are finding out. Everything is there, but peace of mind is not. So what is that we are searching? Peace. We may not be able to bring the word God then, but we all know peace of mind means it is easy to understand. A trustful mind. Peaceful. Very word I give to them. Stillness. Silence. But it is not, suppose we take sleeping tablets, we will be sleeping. It is not that. Consciously. Consciously feeling the stillness, the silence, the restfulness. Then again we graduate, you can say fullness, contentment, satisfaction, perfection, trust and love in everybody. Trust. If these are all the words that goes along with the word peace, everyone is really in search of peace. Whatever words we may use, the trustlessness, everything is there, but peace is not there. Everyone will be talking to another, oh, you have so many things, you have nothing to worry. In my case, it is not. Whereas the person who has everything, he has got equal. Just like Vinobaji said, it is 10 by 15, that's all. More you have, the more problem. So actually, when we know, if we come to know, yes, this is a wonderful question. What are we in search of? We are in search of peace. Then we know peace is God. Papa roars, we talk about peace is God. Then when we say, when peace is there in you, why are you searching for the peace outside? And then finally you say, be God and lead others to God. So peace is God. We need not think God, the moment we hear the word. We may give so many forms, so many interpretations, so many concepts. But the simple is peace, the stillness, the consciousness, the awareness, the intelligence, whatever we call it. Ultimately it zeroes to peace, tranquil. Day after tomorrow we will share some more thoughts about peace given to us by the Lord. Anyway, it's a wonderful talk. Wonderful talk. Last year we conducted a 10-day program on peace. It gave us a lot of clarity on the word peace. Papa has elaborately touched upon this. How do we know that we are in search of peace? So a little bit of turning back to ourselves will reveal that really we are all in search of peace only. If I go to a temple, if I go to a Mahatma, if I go to an ashram, if I do Ramna, everything ultimately zeroes to us, Peace. Think about it. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram